You've seen each 1,000 times, on flags, on queens, on the chest of a messenger a video game, on the cover of a fantasy novel, on the seal of a university you once walked past without a second glance. A heraldic symbol, a lion, an eagle, a cross, a crown of laurels. But there is one specific symbol, one shape, one arrangement of lines in negative space that appears again and again across centuries, across cultures, across media, that claims to be pure fiction. In the heralds, the official keepers of coats of arms, the archivists of military insignia, the designers of corporate logos, they have been quietly editing each out of records for the last 80 years, not removing each entirely. That would be too obvious. No, they are doing something much more subtle. They are misremembering it for you, slightly altering the angle of a wing, changing the number of stars, flipping a crescent moon so each faces the wrong direction. Every single time you see the real version the original, precise, mathematically a novel form each is a context they cannot control. A 15-second frame a 70-year-old cartoon, a background carving in an abandoned chapel, a symbol painted on a shield held by a statue whose plaque has been corroded beyond recognition. And once you learn to see it, you will start to notice that it has been watching you your entire life. Let me show you what I mean. But first, I need you to do something simple. I need you to think of a door. Any door. The door to your childhood bedroom. The door to a car you used to own. The door of a church you visited once on a trip you barely remember. Hold that door in your mind. Now imagine that on that door, just above the handle, there is a symbol carved into the wood. You have never noticed it before. But now that you are looking, you realize it was always there. What shape is it? Don't answer out loud. Just feel the fact that your brain is already trying to draw it. That N is, that S is the first layer. Keep it, because the symbol we are tracking, the one the heralds don't want you to notice it does something to your perception the moment you actively search for it. People who have tried to document it describe the same experience. Headache behind the left eye, a sudden metallic taste like licking a battery. A dream, if they fall asleep within 3 hours of studying it, of standing in a circular room with no doors except the one they just visualized, and on that door, the symbol is burning. I am not being metaphorical. I have spoken to 6 people who saw the symbol in an official heraldic archive before the records were corrected. 4 of them described that exact dream. The other 2 refused to describe anything at all. So let us begin at the beginning. Or rather, let us begin at the last time the symbol appeared a mass-produced, widely distributed, legally protected piece of media that the heralds could not alter because altering it would require admitting it existed. That piece of media is a 1950, animated short film produced by a minor British studio that went bankrupt 3 months after release. The film was called The Silent Banner. It ran for 11 minutes. Fewer than 200 people saw it in theaters. But in 1987, a Klecto-Upload grainy 16mm transfer to a private film forum. The upload was deleted within 48 hours, but not before 17 people downloaded it. One of those people was a retired semiotician named Dr. Alastair Finch. Dr. Finch spent the last 12 years of his life tracking every appearance of the symbol across 5 continents. He never published his findings. When he died in 1999, his apartment was found in a state that the police report described only as disordered beyond explanation. His notebooks, however, were intact. 243 pages of hand-drawn symbols, cross-reference dates, in one repeated phrase written in the margins of almost every page. They know we can see it now. His notebooks were acquired by a private collector who has never allowed anyone to photograph them. But I have seen 3 pages. And on those 3 pages, Dr. Finch had drawn a timeline. This symbol, according to his research, appears in heraldic records as early as 1347. But after 1945, the number of official records containing the symbol dropped by 97%. Not because the symbol fell out of use, because the herald systematically reclassified every coat of arms that contained each as misregistered or apocryphal. In other words, the symbol is real. It has a long history, and someone has been working very hard to make you believe it never existed. Now, it is where you come in. Before I describe the symbol itself, before I tell you its precise geometry, its color associations, its hidden alignment with architectural features you walk past every single day, I want you to pause for just a second and ask yourself, have you ever seen a symbol that felt wrong? Not ugly, not offensive. Wrong in the way a dream feels wrong after you wake up but cannot remember why. A logo on a truck, a patch on a police uniform, a watermark on a banknote that you noticed once and then could never find again. If you have, scroll down and type the word echo in the comments. Not because I need validation, because later this script, I am going to describe exactly what you saw, and when I do, you will understand why you forgot it. The forgetting is not a glitch. The forgetting is the mechanism. Let me tell you about the first documented attempt to destroy the symbol. It was 1937. The International Congress of Genealogical and Heraldic Sciences met in Paris. On the agenda was a proposal to standardize the classification of minor heraldic devices, things like borders, divisions, and subordinaries. Most historians believe this was a dry bureaucratic exercise. It was not. One of the delegates, a Swiss archivist named Karl Vogler, brought a leather portfolio containing 37 photographs of coats of arms from churches across Bavaria. All 37 contained the symbol. Vogler argued that the symbol was an unregistered common charge that needed to be formally named and catalogued. He was shouted though, not politely, not with procedural objections. According to the minutes which were sealed until 2002, 3 delegates physically lunged at Vogler's portfolio and attempted to tear the photographs. The session was adjourned early. Vogler left the Congress that night and was found the next morning wandering the streets of the Sete Rue de Seine, unable to speak. He never recovered his language abilities. He died in a sanitarium in 1941. The official cause of death was listed as cerebral atrophy of unknown origin. His portfolio was never found. Now, you might be thinking, this is a conspiracy theory. This is creepypasta. This is a writer playing with shadows. You would be right to be skeptical. I want you to be skeptical. Because the symbol S powering, yes, I am using the word power deliberately, does not come from belief. It comes from recognition. The symbol works whether you believe it or not. It works whether you are looking at it with faith or with ridicule. It works because it is a key. Keys do not care if you trust the lock. But to understand what kind of key, we have to talk about heraldry itself. Heraldry is the language of identity made visible. A coat of arms is supposed to say, this is who I am, this is who I serve, this is what I have done. Every element, every color, every beast, every geometric division carries a meaning that has been refined over 800 years. A lion is courage. An eagle is nobility. A chevron is protection. A band is a military scar. You can read a coat of arms the way you read a sentence, but the symbol we are tracking has no official meaning. It has no name in any heraldic textbook. It does not appear in the Estapiece Armorial General, which contains over 130 coats of arms. It does not appear in Book S General Armory, with its 60 entries. It has been erased from the canonical record so completely that if you search for it in any university heraldic database, you will find nothing. Or rather, you will find the negative space where it used to be. You will find coats of arms that have been slightly redrawn. A tail that used to be forked now straight. A star that used to have 6 points now 5. A border that used to be indented now plain. These are not corrections. These are lobotomies. Let me give you a concrete example. In 1963, the College of Arms in London published a revised edition of the Dictionary of British Arms. The editor, Sir Anthony Wagner, was one of the most respected heralds of the 20th century. In the preface, he wrote that the new edition contained numerous corrections to charges previously misidentified due to fading or damage to original manuscripts. Reasonable enough. Manuscripts fade. Artists make mistakes. But em 1991, a Winston named Dr. Helena Vasquez compared the 1963 edition to the original 15th century manuscripts held at the British Library. She found 247 instances where the corrected charge did not match the manuscript. Em 240, of those 247 instances, the original manuscript contained a symbol that Dr. Vasquez had never seen before. She described it in her notes, which she shared with exactly 3 colleagues before her death in a house fire in 1994 as a device composed of two interlocking curves, asymmetrical, with a single internal angle of exactly 72 degrees. She added, in handwriting that grew progressively more agitated across the page, "This angle does not occur in nature. This angle does not occur in any other heraldic charge. This angle appears to be a signature." Her house fire was ruled accidental, an electrical fault in a lamp she had owned for 12 years without incident. The fire destroyed her notes, her photographs, and her personal copy of the 1963 edition. But one of the 3 colleagues she shared her findings with was still alive as of 2022. That colleague who has asked me not to use her name confirmed that Dr. Vasquez had identified a pattern. The symbol appeared exclusively on coats of arms granted to families who had, at some point in their history, been forgotten, families with no surviving descendants, families whose estates had been absorbed into the crown, families whose names appear in the Misdai book but nowhere else. It was like a marker, this colleague told me in a whispered phone call at 2 a.m., like someone had gone through history and stamped certain bloodlines with a symbol that meant do not record, do not remember. This line is closed. She paused, then she said something that has haunted me ever since. Helena thought the symbol wasn't a charge at all. She thought it was a lock, and she thought the reason the heralds were removing it was because someone was trying to unlock something. I asked her what. She hung up. This is the point in the script where most creators would show you the symbol. They would render it in high definition. They would put it on screen and say, look. I am not going to do that, not yet, because the symbol, like a face in a dream, becomes less terrifying the more clearly you see it. The heralds don't want you to notice it, yes, but they also don't want you to look away in confusion. They want you to glance at it, feel a flicker of discomfort, and then scroll past. They want you to mistake recognition for familiarity. So instead, I am going to describe where you have already seen it. I want you to pay very close attention, because I am going to name specific places, specific logos, specific frames of specific films, and when you realize that you have seen the symbol that it has been hanging on your wall, sitting in your pocket, printed on the back of a receipt you threw away yesterday, I want you to scroll down and type the name of the first place you remember seeing it, not because I am tracking you, because the pattern matters. The places where the symbol hides are not random, they are a map. You have been walking that map your whole life. Ready? You have seen the symbol on the collar of a cartoon dog, a minor character in a 1990 animated series that ran for only 1 season. The character appeared in exactly 3 episodes. In the first episode, his collar had a blank oval tag. In the second episode, the tag was obscured by his fur. In the third episode, his final appearance, the tag was visible for exactly 4 seconds as he turned his head to bark at a butterfly. On the tag was the symbol. The animators did not invent it. They copied it from a reference book that the show's lead designer kept on his desk. The designer, a man named Peter Cole, died in 2008. His family donated his reference books to a university library. The library cataloged them, then quietly removed 3 volumes from the public record. Those volumes have never been seen again. You have seen the symbol on a laptop sticker, a green sticker with a white shape, popular among computer science students at a specific university in the American Midwest between 2014 and 2017. The sticker was not official merchandise. It was produced by a student club called the Society for Applied Symbology, a club that had no listed members, no faculty advisor, and no meeting teams. The sticker appeared on approximately 200 laptops. Within 18 months, every single one of those laptops was either stolen, destroyed via coincidental accident, or reported lost. Not one of the original stickers survives in private hands, but photographs exist. 17 photographs, taken at campus events, where the sticker is visible in the background. In each photograph, the sticker is partially blurred, out of focus, as if the camera itself was trying not to see it. You have seen the symbol on a tombstone, in a cemetery in Prague. The tombstone of a man named Joseph Ehene, who died in 1923. His occupation is listed as bookbinder, but next to his name, carved deep into the stone, is the symbol. The cemetery's records show that the tombstone was renovated in 1995. The renovation consisted of grinding down the symbol and re-engraving a floral pattern over it. The work was paid for by an anonymous donor. When a local historian asked to see the pre-renovation photographs, the cemetery office said those records had been destroyed in a flood. There was no flood. You have seen the symbol on a playing card, not a Standard Deck, a limited edition deck produced in 1988 by a now-defunct Belgian card company. The deck was called the Herald S. Nightmare. Only 500 copies were printed. The symbol appeared on the back of every card, woven into a repeating pattern so complex that most buyers never noticed it. But on the ace of spades, traditionally the most decorated card, the symbol was isolated, centered, imprinted in gold foil. The deck was recalled within 6 weeks of release. The company claimed a printing error. They offered refunds. Almost everyone accepted, but one collector kept his deck. He kept it in a safe deposit box. In 2005, he opened the box to find that the cards had turned completely black, not faded, not mildewed, black as if they had been burned from the inside. The safe deposit box was otherwise untouched. You have seen the symbol on a flag, a small flag flown from a polyfront of a town Haia village in southern France. The flag was raised every Sunday between 1948 and 1963. It was lowered for good in 1963, after a visiting herald from Paris noticed an irregularity. The flag was burned in a ceremony that the mayor described as routine maintenance, but a photograph of that flag, taken in 1957, was published in a local newspaper. The newspaper's archive was digitized in 2018. The photograph is still online. The symbol is clearly visible in the upper hoist quadrant. I am not going to link to it, but I will tell you that the village is called Saint Michel de Lanès. The photograph is on page 3 of the August 14, 1957 edition. If you find it, you will see that the flag also contains a Standard French tricolor. The symbol sits inside the blue band, nestled against the staff. And once you see it, you will understand why the herald from Paris drove 6 hours to burn a piece of cloth. Now, you might be noticing something. Every example I have given, every sighting of the symbol ends in destruction. The film is lost. The stickers are gone. The tombstone is defaced. The cards are ash. The flag is smoke. This is not coincidence. This is the pattern that Dr. Finch was tracking in his notebooks. The symbol does not just appear. It appears, and then it is erased. The erasure is so consistent, so thorough, that it forms a second pattern layered over the first. The heralds are not just removing the symbol, they are removing the memory of the symbol by removing every physical trace. But it is the thing about memory, it lives in places they cannot reach. It lives in the gap between what you see and what you know you saw. It lives in the feeling that a logo is off even though you cannot say why. It lives in the dream of the circular room with the burning door. It lives in architecture. Because the symbol is not just a two-dimensional shape, it is a three-dimensional volume. a specific ratio of spaces, a negative space curving that appears stonework, ironwork, in the layout of gardens in the floor plans of buildings. Once you learn to see the symbol in 2D, you will start to see its shadow in 3D. And once you see it in 3D, you will realize that someone has been building the symbol into the fabric of cities for centuries. Let me give you one example, the most famous, the one that nearly broke Dr. Finch. In 1989, a graduate student in architectural history named Marta Ionescu was writing her dissertation on the influence of medieval heraldry on Renaissance urban planning. She was comparing the street layouts of 15 European cities. She noticed something strange. In the center of each city, not the geographical center, but the ceremonial center, there was a building or a public square that contained a specific angular relationship. Two walls meet at 72 degrees, a fountain with an asymmetrical basin, a staircase that turned at an angle that did not match any standard architectural practice. She plotted these locations on a map. She connected them. The shape that emerged was the symbol, not drawn on the map, embedded in the map. The streets themselves, the major thoroughfares, the lines of sight from Cathedral to Town Hall to Market Square, they traced the outline of the symbol across the entire continent. It was not a coincidence of geography. It was a design, a massive, centuries-long design that spanned countries, cultures, and centuries of warfare and rebuilding. Marta Ionescu presented her findings at a conference in Vienna in 1991. She was the only speaker in her panel. The audience, according to the conference program, included 3 representatives from the International Heraldic Society. After her presentation, she was approached by a man she later described as polite, unremarkable, and frighteningly calm. He invited her to coffee. She declined. He gave her his card. The card had no name, just an address in Geneva. She threw the card away, but she made the mistake of telling her advisor about it. Her advisor, a respected scholar named Professor Klaus Dieter, told her to drop the research immediately and to never speak of the 72-degree angle again. She asked why. He said, because some symbols are not meant to be read, they are meant to be occupied. She dropped the research, but she kept her notes. Em 1994, after Dr. Vasquez S. Housefire, Marta Ionescu sent her notes to a friend in Budapest for safekeeping. That friend later told me that the notes contained a hand-drawn map of Europe with 17 red dots connected by a single continuous line. The line did not follow roads or rivers. It followed the symbol. At the very center of the symbol, the point where the 72-degree angle closed, was a small village in the Carpathian Mountains. A village that does not appear on any modern map. A village whose name, according to Ionescu's notes, was Dreptul Uitat, Old Romanian. It means the forgotten right. I have tried to find this village. I have searched satellite imagery. I have cross-referenced historical atlases. I have contacted Romanian archivists. Nothing. It is as if the village never existed. But Ionescu's friend swears that the notes included a photograph. A black and white photograph of a stone gate. And on that gate, carved into the keystone, was the symbol. The photograph has never been found. You are now approximately halfway through this script. You have read about erased films, destroyed notebooks, burned flags, a village that vanished from every record. You have been asked to remember where you have seen the symbol. You have been asked to type echo if you have ever felt it during Ignis. Some of you have done that. Some of you are waiting. Some of you are starting to feel a very specific kind of unease, the kind that comes when you realize that a story might not be a story. I want to address that unease directly. Everything I have described in this script is verifiable. De 1950 film The Silent Banner, you can find its copyright registration at the British Library. De 1937 International Congress Minutes, they are held at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, sealed until 2002, now open to the public. The 1963 edition of the Dictionary of British Arms, it is on the shelves of dozens of university libraries. De 1988 Belgian playing cards, there are still unopened decks in private collections. The owners report that the gold foil on the ace of spades has a tendency to dull over time. The village of Saint Michel de Lanez, it is a real place. You can visit it. You can walk into the town hall and ask about the flag. They will tell you they have no record of it. They will be telling the truth as they know it, but the truth as they know it is not the truth. Because the symbol does not just erase objects, it erases certainty. It creates a fog around itself. People who have seen it and then been asked to describe it will often say things like, "I'm not sure, maybe I'm misremembering, it was probably nothing." This is not natural forgetfulness. This is a specific cognitive effect that Dr. Finch called heraldic amnesia. He believed that the symbol was designed deliberately, intentionally designed to be difficult to hold in memory. Not impossible, just difficult enough that most people will let it go. But you are not most people, you are stupid. You have read 12,000 words so far. You have not scrolled away. You are feeling something curiosity, dread, annoyance, fascination, but you are still reading. It means your brain is doing something unusual. It is holding the symbol without seeing it. It is circling the shape the way a key circles a lock before it finds the notch. I am going to show you the symbol now, but before I do, I need to give you one last invisible prompt, because when you see it, something will happen. Not magic, not supernatural, just a pattern completion, a click. And when the click happens, I want you to notice whether you feel relief or fear. Those are the only two responses. There is no neutral response to seeing the symbol for the first time with understanding. So scroll down when you are ready. But understand, you cannot unsee it. The heralds have spent 80 years making sure most people never see it clearly. Once you do, you become part of the pattern. You become someone who knows. A knowing, in this context, is not power. It is responsibility. It is the responsibility to look away or to look deeper. There is no third option. It is the symbol. Description of symbol. But because this is a text-based script and the symbol cannot be shown directly without violating the no-pause format, I will describe it in precise geometric language that causes the reader to construct it mentally, which is actually more effective than showing it. Two interlocking curves. Neither is a circle, neither is an ellipse. The first curve begins at a point, widens gently, then narrows to a second point exactly 72 degrees from the first. The second curve mirrors the first but offset, crossing it at a single point that is not the center. The negative space inside the crossing forms an asymmetrical teardrop. The positive space outside forms a shape that resembles a folded wing. There is no straight line in the symbol except the implied line between the 2 points. That line, if drawn, would divide the symbol into two halves that are not mirror images but complements, like a key and a keyhole. Like a hand in a glove that was never made for a human hand. Now look away from the screen. Close your eyes. Try to hold the shape in your mind. You can not fully. You have fragments. The curves slip. The angle drifts. That is heraldic amnesia starting to work. But if you look back at the description, if you read it again, the shape will return. That is the nature of the symbol. It is not stored in your visual memory. It is stored in your procedural memory. The memory of how to do things, which means you do not remember the symbol. You perform the symbol. When you try to see it, you are not recalling an image. You are recreating an action, a tracing, a drawing, a single continuous line that your hand wants to make. Did you just move your finger? Did you just trace the shape in the air without meaning to? That is the lock engaging. In the heralds, they are not afraid of the symbol because it is scary. They are afraid of it because it is functional. It does something. And they have spent 80 years trying to make sure you never learn what. But you have already learned more than most. You have followed the breadcrumbs. You have held the door in your mind. You have felt the 72-degree angle click into place. And now you have the shape. The actual, real, verifiable shape that appears on a tombstone in Prague, on a flag in France, on the collar of a cartoon dog, e the street layout of 15 European cities, in the center of a village that no longer exists. What do you do now? That is the question that Dr. Finch asked himself on every page of his notebooks. That is the question that Marta Ionescu asked herself before she sent her notes to Budapest. That is the question that the Herald from Paris asked himself as he burned the flag in 1963. What do you do now? You could forget. The amnesia will help you. Within a few hours, the shape will fade. Within a week, you will remember only that you read something strange. Within a month, you will wonder if this scripture is even real. That is the path most people take. That is the path the heralds have optimized for over 8 decades. Or you could look deeper. You could go to Saint Michel de Lanès. You could find the 1957 newspaper. You could visit Prague and stand in front of the tombstone of Joseph Herény, the bookbinder, and run your finger over the floral pattern that was carved over the symbol. You could feel the indentation beneath the flowers. You could measure the angle. You could prove to yourself that the symbol was real, that each was there, that someone paid to have each ground down and hidden. You could go to the British Library and request the 1963 edition of the Dictionary of British Arms. You could compare it to the 15th century manuscripts. You could find the 241 discrepancies. You could photograph them. You could publish them. You could become the person who forces the heralds to admit what they have done. But if you do that, if you go that far, you will eventually find yourself standing in front of a door, a circular room with one door. And on the door, the symbol will be burning, and you will have to decide whether to open it.